What's up, folks? This is Dan from Discern, and these are my thoughts on the new album from Json, Foreign Volume 1. Json is a hip-hop artist and rapper from St. Louis. He got his start as part of the 116 clique, working with artists like Lecrae, Tadashi, Trip Lee, among numerous others. In 2008, he joined the label Lamp Mode Records, a label most well known for the lyrical phenomenon and theological powerhouse Shaolin. And in 2014, Json was named the president of the label. So he's sort of steering the ship now. And this newest EP from him, Foreign Volume 1, was released just last week. It's about 27 minutes, and it's apparently given the name the first volume of a new series or a collection or something. To break this album down, I think it's going to be most helpful to look at like the different characteristics and facets of rap music in general. So sort of look at it from the angles that most music within this genre is known for. Things like production, lyricism, vocal flow, and of course hooks. So get your seatbelts locked, strap in, because old Negative Nancy is coming through. My biggest concern here, let's start with production. My biggest concern and confusion through much of this EP was how some of these synth tones, sounds, and effects made it on the final record. I mean, warbly auto-tune, heavy vocal delay on the title track, Foreign, laughable synth leads on the tracks Struggle, Oh Yeah, and Whoa. Absolutely cheesy. And what about the titles, too? Oh, yeah? Whoa? Look, the synths sound like they used a cheap electronic piano, found a synth lead sound, and just slapped it in there. No EQ adjustments, no careful crafting or shaping of the sound. Just out of the box. Not unique, not tastefully done. It's ludicrous to me that this production was considered passable, let alone cool. The latter half of this EP is better than the first, for sure, but it's only a marginal improvement. Lyricism, not nearly as strong as his past records, not the theological depth or importance that he's brought before. Too many of these tracks are just unconvincing brag sessions. I'm not buying into it that your lyrics are fire just because you tell me they are. You gotta prove it. You gotta have lyrics that are fire. There's just too much directionless banter. Typical of many rap artists these days, I know. But I know Json can do better. I mean, he definitely has on his past 3 albums. And actually, you know, to be fair, the middle section of this album does have some pretty good lyrics. The tracks Love Me, Live On, Necessary, Civil. There's some good bars in there for sure. Definitely thoughtful topics as well and themes. Vocal flow. The flow, at least from Json, is pretty hit and miss. The first couple tracks are one-dimensional and definitely too monotone. The track Live On, though, is a real mover. It took me by surprise after sort of the flops on the first few tracks. His flow here carries a real bite and an edge, you know, pointed articulation. But he rolls with the beat so well that the whole sound and the vibe has a steady and rhythmic smoothness. There's good flows, too, from a few features on the album. S.O. on the track Necessary, Keyshawn Furlow on the track Civil. And, you know, I'm a sucker for the sound of Keyshawn Furlow's vocals. I'm sure some people probably hate it. Some people probably find it very annoying, but uncontrolled. You know, his voice is about to crack. He's melodically spazzy, almost purposefully sloppy. I'm a fan of it. I think it's theatrical, it's silly, it's lighthearted, it's always interesting. And his lyrics usually play into that silliness too, like on this track that he's featured on, dropping a reference to Mr. Magoo. Hooks. On the track Struggle, what a shame that the hook here sounds so unimpressive and unconvincing, because the whole I'm from the struggle. I'm from the struggle. I'm from the struggle. I'm from the struggle. From what I've read, Json has dealt with a bunch of struggles, real difficulties, life-threateningly so. But this is not a powerful and impressionable song that translates those struggles. I mean, the production and the hook is so much more amateur than I thought it should be sounding after 6 full-length albums. This track should have hit the cutting room floor, at least in its state that made it on the album. But it gets worse. It sadly gets worse with the track Oh Yeah. Somebody needs to help this poor guy, Stephen Malcolm. This is not a good hook, not by any measure. The incessant repeating of every other line, everything comes in these obnoxious echo doubles. We grind, all day, all night, all night. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh goodness, just far too much. The hook on the closing track, Whoa, is just another throwaway. It's like they babble in the studio and just call it good. There's no real substance. It's just some glorified, auto-tuned up chatter. Things like y'all don't know and they like whoa. We just gotta let them know. That's the best. That's the best we have to offer here. And at the end of the song, I think they forgot to write the end of the album because it very, very abruptly ends. Like it feels like they just extended their loops and their synths to a certain point, copied and pasted it, up until, yep, just stop right there. I mean, song's over, album over, no fanfare, no thought put into it. Bizarre way to end it. As you can tell, this album was a disappointment to me. It's not an improvement or a step forward in Json's discography. They can't all be winners, I guess. They aren't always better than what came before it. But I think of Json's past releases as sort of 2 trilogies. His first 3 albums as one, his next 3 albums as another. On the first 3, the instrumentals were very cheap sounding, very corny, unbelievably distracting. I mean, they were in such poor taste that it often affected the value of the lyrics, and I couldn't stay focused on the songs or be drawn into it because the production was so downright silly. The hooks were equally poor. I mean, highly repetitive, lightweight lyrics, lacking in compelling or even entertaining melodies. So basically, I was, not a fan of the first 3 records. But I was glad that the next 3 were noticeably better. The production was ratcheted up, more dynamic, more instrumentation, more dramatic. The instrumentation also featured some live performances. I mean, some guitar solos even at times, some drums. The synthetic instruments were in good taste. They were well balanced with the emotions and the themes of the tracks. The hooks were melodic and were lyrically insightful. The arrangements were more well crafted. They carried a stronger purpose and weight. Big picture, those albums felt like Json's best foot forward. But sadly, on this EP, in my opinion, it feels like they backslid. They're back to those cheap, cringeworthy synth instruments, back to overly simplistic and tasteless hooks. At the end of the day, there's not much here to take home, to be impressed by. I mean, the lyrics or more the lyrical topics and themes are probably the best aspect to cling to here. I mean, Json is still a pretty thoughtful rapper overall. It's obvious he spent a lot of time thinking about these topics, diving deep personally. The individual bars may not be flashy, surprising, complex, but the lyrics, at least on some of these tracks, do explore topics really worth reflecting on. I don't have much more to say on this record. It's one of those albums where I feel like I'm missing something. I am shocked in a bad way by numerous facets of this record. And I keep thinking, am I wrong? Or is this album really not that good? If you loved this album, I seriously want to know why. And not because I think you're an idiot or you're wrong. I feel like I'm just not seeing it. I feel like I'm missing something. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this album review, please subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to make sure you don't miss any new reviews, any new videos. Remember, new album reviews, just like this one, release every Friday. New track reviews release every Wednesday. And if you have a question or a comment about this album or not about this album, let me know. You could comment below this video. You could tweet at me at discernreviews. You can send me an email, discernreviews@gmail.com. I forgot to mention, I will have a link, of course, in the description to listen to this album yourself, and a link to Json's Twitter. Go give him a follow if this is something you're interested in. It is completely my opinion that I feel the way I do. Have you listened to this album from Json? And if you haven't, link below. What do you think of this album? Are you a fan of his previous releases? You know, how do you think this one stacks up? You can let me know in the comments below. Anyway, hope this helped. See ya.